So today I'm going to show you how to make a daisy square. We're going to make a center, add the petals, and then the border, and that is your daisy square. I will be using Soft Classic acrylic by Loops and Thread, a medium weight yarn, and a 5.5mm hook, which is an I hook or a 9, depending on where you are in the world. First things first, we're going to make our little center. I'm going to take my tail end yarn, place it over my fingers, pinch it with my thumb, rotate my hand, bring my yarn around, make an X, pinch it with my other fingers, come in between my two fingers here. That little groove makes a perfect opening so you can get in there. I'm going to go in between the top X here, rotate my hook and pull through this side of the X, and as I come through I'm going to twist and rotate my hook. You can go this way as well, depending on whatever's most comfortable for you. Then I'm going to grab my working end yarn. This here is called a yarn over, so I'm going to yarn over and pull through, and that is a chain. Now I'm going to just pull my little tail out of the center of my loop, and that is a magic loop. You can put as many stitches as you want in there and then just pull her tight. So we'll just make it a manageable, comfortable pinch and be able to get my hook in there nicely. We're going to chain 1 again. Now this chain 2 here is going to equal our first stitch, our first double crochet. To double crochet, we're going to yarn over, go through the center of the loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and pull through 2 more loops. And that is a double crochet. So we're going to create 12 of those inside of here, and our first chain 2 is going to count as our first one. So we have 2, yarn over through the center, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and pull through 2 loops. 3, yarn over, go through the center, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, 4. And we're just going to continue till we have 12. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now we're going to pull our tail and close that up. I'm going to just double check that I have 12, starting with our chain 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that basically is the end of that, but we need to close it up, and when we do that, we're going to incorporate our tail here as much as we can. We're just gonna kind of bring it up and lay it in between, sandwich it, you know. Okay, so we're going to make a slip stitch in the top of this first chain 2 here. So we're going to go up 3 of these little bees. 1, 2, 3, and you can tell this kind of just looks like the top of the stitch. So bringing our tail up, going through the top here, pulling through, and then pulling through again. And now our tail is kind of brought up and it will be a lot easier and neater. At the back, it'll be kind of invisible. We're going to incorporate these tails as we do our petals in the next step. So I'm going to finish this off by doing a chain 1, pulling up a big loop, and then cutting that. And snip. Pull that tight, and you got yourself a little center for your daisy. So to incorporate these tails, we're just going to kind of lay them around the edge as we go. So now we're going to grab our daisy color. This time we're going to be working in between each of these stitches. Normally you would just work in the top of these, and then you would still have this little bar at the bottom, but we're going to go underneath all of that and go through the center with the stitches there. So I'm going to start one back from where my tails are, stick my hook through there, pick up my new color here, just hook it around. I'm going to pinch and grab these just so there's a loop on my hook, and then I'm going to pull that through, keep my tail end up here, pinch it so it's nice and tight so it's not going anywhere. I'm going to chain 1, chain 2. Now if this first stitch here is looking a little bit too loose, what you can do is take your tail and just kind of pull it till it looks like the rest of the stitches here. So we're going to be working double crochet clusters into this center piece here. So I'm going to yarn over, go through the center, pick up a loop, and go through 2 loops, but we're going to keep this last loop on the hook. So again, yarn over, go through the center, pull up a loop, and go through 2 loops. And we have 3 left on our hook. So now I'm going to go through all 3, yarn over and pull through all 3, and chain 1. And that is 1 petal done. So now we're going to create a petal in between all of our stitches here. To do that again, we're going to yarn over, go through the center of those stitches, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, then we're going to yarn over through the center, pull up a loop, and pull through 2. We have 3 stitches left on, but we only have 2 petals in there, or 2 little clusters. So this is our working stitch, we'll call it. It's connected to this petal here, and at the end we're going to have 4, so yarn over through the center, pull up a loop, and go through 2. We have 4 loops on our hook. We have 3 petals. That's what we want, so we're going to yarn over, pull through all 4 of those, and that creates another petal. Chain 1. Now we're going to just continue repeating this across the row, keeping our yarn kind of at the back of our work, but enough that when we go through, so like not down too far, but just up at the top, and when we yarn over, go through the center here, we want to make sure that we are incorporating all of that. So pull through a loop, try and pinch it as you go, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go through the center here, pull up a loop, go through 2, yarn over, go through the center, pull up a loop, go through 2, and through all 4 and chain 1. That is our repeat, and we're just going to continue that across the row, and we will have 12 petals in total at the end of it. So we're going to make 1, 2, 3, pull through all 4, chain 1. It's a little slow when you're trying to keep these all from going all wily, but it is definitely worth it because then you do not need to tuck anything in at the end of it. It all is just neat and tidy. So sometimes here, this little blob, I will just try and scoop it in with the stitch so it is just secured in there. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. I'm going to pull through all 4, chain 1, and then repeat. Go through the center, 2, 3, and pull through all 4, chain 1. Oops, sorry. Through the center, this here's just get a little tug. I'm gonna hold it at the front just because it's easier to grip. Pull through 2, goes through the center, pull through 2, go through the center, pull through 2, and see if we can't incorporate these little tails here. Go through 2. That didn't really work, did it? So I'm just going to keep them out and I will snip them. 2 and all 4. Chain 1. 2, 3, and through all 4. Chain 1. 1, 2, 3, through all 4, chain 1. 1, 2, 3, and through all 4, chain 1. Now, if you wanted your petals to be a little bit bigger, you can go through the center, pull through 2, and then only going through this loop here again one more time, like that. And then you do that for all of your stitches, and it'll just make them a little bit taller, but there will probably be more space in between each of them. So depending on what you're using them for, I'm using this for a bag, so I need them to be as little holy as possible. So we have 2 more here. I'm gonna yarn over, go through, pull up, go through 2. Ooh, I'm catching on the other yarn. Through the center, pull up a loop, through 2, yarn over, through the center, pull up a loop, through 2, then all 4, and chain 1. All right, our last one here. So through the center, pull up a loop, through 2, do that 2 more times, and through all 4, and chain 1. So again, to finish this, we're going to go into the 3rd stitch from the top or from the bottom. So 1, 2, 3. It looks like it's the top of our stitch anyways. So through the top here and pull through a loop and pull that loop through the loop on your hook, which is a slip stitch. Then chain 1, pull up a little bit of a bigger loop and cut that. Now I'm going to do this as I go so I don't forget. Just gonna pull that out a bit enough that I can cut it somewhat close but not touching, because I do not want to accidentally cut my work. I've done that and it sucks. Alright, give it a wiggle jiggle, and she's incorporated now. Look at that. So I'm gonna pull that tight and we're gonna start on our border. So switching out my color again to this nice green color. Now we're going to work in between each of our petals. We're going to work 3 either double crochet or half double crochet, and we're going to start at the little hole, I don't know what else to call that, in between. We're going to start in between these 2 petals, the one that is one back from where our tail is. So I'm going to insert my hook through the center here. I'm going to pull through my yarn. Then I'm going to bring my tail and pinch that. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2. Now, for each of our corners, we are going to do double crochets, and then for the center parts, we will be doing half double crochets. That might sound a little confusing, but I will explain. This here will count as our first double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the center, pull up a loop, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops. Okay, and that is our first corner. This will be a corner piece. Our last, when we get back around here, we will be working again 3 double crochets in between there. So now we work half double crochets in the next 2 petals. So we're going to yarn over, go through the center, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. Now when you're incorporating your darker color, you want to make sure that it is at the back of your work and at the bottom of where you are, at the bottom of where you're pulling through. So it's just going to lay at the back along these stitches here. And we're just going to incorporate it as we go. So half double crochets into here. We're going to do 3 of them again. So 2, 3, and 1 more set of 3 in this petal here. Yarn over, go through the center, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go through the center, pull up a loop, and pull through all 3. Yarn over, go through the center, pull up a loop, and go through all 3. Now we are going to make our corner in this next one, which is done with double crochets, and then a chain 2 or a chain 3 in between 2 sets of double crochets. So I'll show you. We're going to yarn over, go through the center, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2, yarn over, go through the center, pull up a loop, go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops. One more time, and then we're going to chain, yarn through 1, 2 times. If you want a bigger gap in between, you can do 3. If you want a smaller one, you can do 1 or none, depending on what look you're going for. So now we're going to work in the same center here, in the same one as these 3. We're going to do another set of 3 double crochets. So yarn over, go through the center, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2. 2 more times here. Need some more yarn. And one more time. And if you see here, we just made ourselves a little corner. So we do a corner with 3 double crochets, 2 chain 2, 3 double crochets, and then in between each corner we do 3 half double crochets in 2 of these little slots in between those petals. So our next one are going to be half double crochets. We're going to do 1, and I'll just snip those again, and I'm done. 2, 3. Now same thing into this next one. 1, 2, 3, and a corner again, which is going to be made with our double crochets. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet, and 2 chain 2s. See how I kind of just pull that down to make this more square and straight? It also then allows me to have some more room when I go to do my next set. So chain 2, 1, 2, yarn over, go through the center, and we're going to make 3 double crochets. 2, 3. Alright, so half double crochet again in our next 2. Oops, pull that through. 2, 3. 1 more. 1, 2. Whoops, I dropped my loop. Yarn over. 3. 3. Now double crochets again. So yarn over. We're gonna go through 2 and 2. Do that 3 times. 2, 3. Get some more yarn. And chain 2, 1, 2, yarn over, 3 double crochets again into the same, I don't know what to call this. Someone comment below and let me know. Circle, center, loop, not really sure which word to use. And I'm going to do half double crochets again in the next 2. So 1, 2, 3. Last one here. 1, 2, 3. Now we need to finish what we started here, our first corner. So we're going to make 3 double crochets into the same loop center. No sé qué palabra usar. Okay, so pull up, go through 2, gonna make 2 more of those. 1, 2, 3, and chain 2. 1, 2. Now we're going to attach it to the top of our first chain 2, which will be our third stitch, our third little V, 1, 2, 3. Looks like the top of our stitch here. And we're going to just do a slip stitch. Now, this might be a little bit weird. I don't know how other people do it, but I'm going to go through the same slip stitch that I just made. Trying to see if you can see this. There's a little hole here that's kind of like behind or going a little bit backwards. Let me pull this up a bit and make it bigger. So it's easier to see. Okay, so this would be normally tight, but I am going to go back into this little loop here, going backwards, and then I'm going to pull up a loop and then go through 2, which kind of looks, it's kind of like a single crochet, and it will be like our chain 1. Oh no, sorry. We're actually doing single crochets now, so it will act as our first single crochet. So I'm going to just kind of pull this tight, not tight, but like taut enough that I can pull this apart and go through that stitch. So I'm going to pull up a loop and do a single crochet. All right, now I'm going to go in through this stitch that I first came into with my slip stitch. I'm going to work into there and do a single crochet. Now I'm just going to work into the top of each of these stitches until I get back to here. So to do a single crochet, we're going to go in between our stitches here. We'll have the little V or the 2 at the top. Then we're going to pull up a loop and pull through 2. Again, going through that little top stitch, going to pull up a loop and then yarn over and pull through both of those. So we're just going to continue single crocheting around, and once we get to the corners, we will be doing, well, I'll show you once we get there. So just about there. Now, this stitch here, the top of that stitch is right here. So we're going to go through that last one, make a single crochet, and now we have where we chained, which kind of just looks like it's more or less just one loop, and that's because the other one then connects to the next stitch, but we will be working in between that right there. So we're going to work 2 single crochets or 3 depending on how you are doing this and what look you're going for and what your tension is, and sometimes it can all vary. So we're going to work 1, 2, and that kind of just curves around, go through this stitch here, and then just continue single crocheting across till you get to your next corner. And this is what it is looking like. Just kind of a nice border. Okay, so we're going to continue single crocheting across the top here. And then once we get to the corners, we are going to work 2 single crochets into the center of that loop. One, 2, and then back into the top of this, and continuing single crocheting around. It's a little awkward when you're trying to film and keep everything at a certain level. But then when we get to our corner, and to the top of our last one here, 2 double or single crochets into the middle there, then into the top of the rest of these. Okay, I just gotta finish to the end here and then do our corner, and we're done. I will show you a nice way to finish off. If you were to, say, make this out of some cotton yarn and make it into like a pot holder or something, or like you weren't gonna attach them and you wanted it to just look pretty, I'm going to show you how to finish it off so that it looks nice and you don't have some weird little knot at the top. So last corner, we're gonna do 1, 2, and then normally what you would do, if you're gonna attach these all together and make something out of a bunch of squares and stuff, you can just do what we've done the last couple rows, is make a slip stitch, pull up or chain, and then pull up a loop and pull tight and cut it off. Or what you can do is we're gonna pull a loop up. We have not yet closed this. I'm going to give this a snip. Okay, so then I'm going to take a darning needle, a needle big enough to fit my yarn into, and that is blunt enough that I'm not going to be piercing through a bunch of my fibers. Now, if it's not blunt enough and then you're having issues where you are still, say, coming through and splitting your yarn like that, like that, if you can see it, you can use the back of your needle here, and it's just a little bit smoother and easier to use. So we're going to basically just mimic the way that these are looped around. So I'm coming out of the top of this one here. I'm going to go through 1, 2 away, bring my yarn through, make sure it's laying on top of this stitch here, our first stitch, pull it so that it looks like it's about the same tension length as our other loops, and then we're going to go back through the top of this one here that it's coming out of, go through both of those loops there, again pull that tight so it mimics the same kind of tension as the rest of them. And then you're just going to incorporate your yarn into your work. Going to go around the corner here, going backwards, and then I'm going to kind of just come down going through as many stitches as I can cleanly. And then you can tie that off by going around this stitch here. That might be a little bit too short, but just gonna keep this on here, or you can use your hook then, go through that loop that you just created, and chain 1, chain 2, and pull tight. And that, my friends, is how you finish off a daisy square and how to make a daisy square. Snip that. Come find these ones here. Snip that. A wiggle and a jiggle. And there you go. So if you needed to, you could starch this, block it, whatever, to make it perfect, absolutely perfect. But we will be making, this is my second one, so I will be making 12 more in order to make my bag. Thanks for hanging out, and I hope you have a really good day. If there's anything that you want to learn how to make or crochet, sew, whatever, just let me know and I'll get on it. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.